Hello, this is Marxist, and we'll be talking about GPIT, the map formerly known as CP Gravel Pit. It's an odd map. It's not a 5 CP, not too much like what is typically played. It's the only attack defense map played in the standard American map rotation. The basis of this map is that the blue team attempts to capture all 3 points, which it can only capture A and B to start. Attempts to capture all 3 points, sets a time, then they switch colors, and the formerly defending red team now attempts to beat the time that was previously set by the other team. Then you do it all over again to determine a winner, and you basically do a best of three. So G-Pit matches can take a long time, and they're also very, very stressful. So the map has the people that hate it and the people that love it. For the most part, it's really great to watch. The matches are super suspenseful, but it's really, really stressful, and it's really unforgiving, especially on medics. If you drop Uber, you may have just lost the game. Like that's how it goes. Whereas in other situations, mistakes here and there can be forgiven. And the map also amongst certain ESCA Open players for a while was known as a team killer, because if anybody gets mad a lot, they may tend to get really mad on GPIT because the teamwork is pretty much the most important thing on this map because you have to do everything very quickly. So to start out on this video, we're going to talk about the standard typical defense of B. There's another method called Iron Man, and even other methods yet that I'm not going to go into for this video series. Essentially, the idea is that A isn't worth defending, and it's pretty difficult to defend both of those points without losing both of them quickly. Iron Man is a different take on that, and we'll get to that later. But essentially, you're putting all your eggs in the B basket, and you're hoping for the best. So I'll show you what teams do to secure that point. I'll also go over point by point what each class should or could be doing as part of the standard B hold. So you may have seen from the title cards passing by that I consider there to be two phases as part of this B defense. The initial phase and then the later standard typical phase. The initial phase sees a lot of activity and people moving around and forward holding. The idea here is that you're going to have your roamer in pocket deny the doors. Your roamer will have the demo to back him up. That allows your NG time to get your level 3 teleporter, level 3 dispenser, all that nonsense. And your scout will essentially make sure that nobody comes on C, out of C side, and attempts to do anything to you early. Because that's a big thing on this map, is making sure that you have a set of eyes on every single possible entryway, and that way you're not going to get surprised. A lot of teams will get into trouble on GPIT because they don't communicate very well, and everybody looks at the same thing, and then whoop-de-dee, somebody stabs them in the back or jumps them from somewhere nobody was looking. So this is sort of the opening phase, and I'll go over what each class does during that opening phase after I get done talking about phase 2. And this is what you move to after the first 20 to 40 seconds, and maybe even less than 40 seconds. And you're basically all hiding in the Enigma Shadow, or you could just call it the Shadow. It's named the Enigma Shadow because Enigma sort of pioneered the use of the sentry gun around that area. And you'll also notice on A point there's Carnage Rock, which is named after Carnage, who always built the sentry gun there. But anyways, essentially what's going on in this hold is the roamers holding the roof, the pocket and the demo are watching the long hallway on the left, scouts watching C still. If you know that they're on C, then you just shift everything over, and you have your scout watch long, and your roamer stays on the roof, and the demo in the pocket shift over and block out the two doors there that are numbered 1 and 2 from right to left if you're facing C. Your medic will have to pull up there, but essentially the gun will stay in the same place as I show where the engineer is. He can move it to other places if you really want to, but that's pretty much the best spot. So now I'm going to talk about what Scout does in general at the opening phase, and that's trapping up A somehow, trapping up C somehow, and suiciding at the start to give metal. You can do any of those things. In the event that you were to suicide for metal, you're pretty much not going to be able to trap A or C. You could try it and see how it goes, but more than likely you're just giving your metal up. So here we are on the A point as Scout. We're going to talk about various ways to trap up A. One way to do it is to go down in the connector here, and you just wait for everybody to start walking out, and that way you're behind them. You can also see and give intelligence to your team as to how many people are going to A, what has gone to A, etc. You can also look through these boards here and give the same amount of information, but the likelihood of your being caught is much higher. And then essentially you can attack whoever's on the point, attempt to lock up A, make them unable to cap if they didn't send enough people, or frag the medic if they brought the medic out. You can also hide up here. I don't know how to do those jumps, or can't, because I hardly ever play Scout. So you can get up there if you want to. Now we're going to talk about Scout as a sort of spotter. You're mainly going to be watching C at the start and denying anybody that attempts to come out there. But you can also go on little secret agent man missions where you're going to go through the connector. This is especially true if there's a lull or you see a lot of people on the point and you've killed yourself at the start for metal. You peek around, you can hide in this shack here and watch people walk by if they're spilling out. And then if they're not at A anymore, you can look around at C through this door, and also the best way to spy is to look at them through this window. Now you can tell your team when they're pushing, how they're pushing, what's there, and you can also come in behind them after the push, frag the medic, frag anyone who's hurt and not in. It's really easy pickings. Of course, another option altogether is to just go sniper and sit in C. You can do that if you harass at A early and die, or if you suicide for metal. Then you just peek out here, you hide your dot, they're really never going to be able to see you, and you drop the medic right off the bat. That's one tactic. And then there would be a teleporter over here, which you would take. You can also kind of snipe from over here. It's not nearly as effective, and your window of opportunity is really low, and then you just get on the telly. I'm not really going to show a video of what scouts do in the second. It's basically either just keeping an eye on whatever your combo isn't watching, making sure that there are eyes on every door, and occasionally doing a replay of what was earlier done in Phase 1 where you attempt to scout out what the team's doing, actual scouting. Just make sure that you're not going anywhere where your team isn't, and if you get pushed in on, make sure that somebody's around you, because taking a 1v1 is a very bad idea for you. Especially on this point, you have to stay alive. In the opening phase as engineer, life's really hectic. You gotta get your teleporter down, you gotta run over, you gotta make sure your team doesn't steal the 200 ammo laying on the ground for you. You gotta drop your sentry gun, hammer out the 70 ammo that remains for you, pick up your 200 ammo, and hammer out that gun to another, to level 3. And then lay down your exit and dispenser as quickly as possible. So now I'm going to demonstrate what the NG will do. You'll lay this entrance down as quickly as you possibly can, usually on the right side because they're going to come left side and check that. You could put it on the left if you wanted to. Then you're going to run out, you're going to put your gun down as quickly as possible on the line of the shadow, about where it is on the map here and about there. You should have about 200 metal laying on the ground somewhere from your teammates that'll help you build the gun. You run over and get this ammo pack that'll give you 100 metal. You throw down the dispenser. About right here is where I like to have it. Then you grab that, and you'll probably need to run over and get the medium pack again, but I didn't do that in this demonstration, and you set your exit down. You can put your exit down over here anywhere that you like, really. You can also move the dispenser if you don't like it being there. I happen to like it there since your med tends to be standing there pretty much the entire game, and it makes them a little bit more difficult to get to. If you want to move your sentry gun, here are some other places where you can put it. They have their advantages and their disadvantages. This one right here that I'm showing now is mainly just like if you desperately need an extra couple seconds and for whatever reason you've got a gun, then you can put it there. Setting it here is becoming pretty common. That blocks most of the ability of people to jump out of short and get on your roof. And it's also a pretty safe spot. You can put it here too. That pretty much absolutely denies anybody attempting to jump. The problem is it's going to go down really quickly if the team pushes out on you from short or connector. If you have time or you're in sort of a desperate situation where you've got a gun and you don't know what to do with it, hiding it here can work. You cannot see it. It'll go down quickly, but it can't be seen. Also over here is a pretty decent spot if they're really dependent on coming out of long on you. And that's essentially phase 1 and 2 of NG. I mean, that's all you do. Make sure you've got a gun, make sure you've got a dispenser, upgrade all the stuff to level 3, try and get a tele as often as you can. And that's about that. And make sure you're watching stuff that isn't being watched. As Roamer, essentially you're going to jump as quickly as you can, suicide over the Enigma Shadow, then jump back to B pretty quickly, get healed, and lock out Long Hallway, which I'll show you how to do in a little bit. And then if nothing presents itself, or somebody wants to get in a fight, just jump away to the roof and stay on the roof, which will mean you'll enter phase 2. This is just sort of a quick version of the suicide, or what you would do in order to get your suicide out as quick as possible. Now that you're newly respawned, you're going to be coming back here. You'll get a real quick buff from your med, who will be around in this area. And then you just slowly walk so as not to waste the buff, and jump up in here. And you're going to sit basically here and just spam rockets at them. They may try to run suicides on you early or go all in on you, and you're going to be what stops that. Out of long anyways. If anybody comes here and tries to fight with you, just back off and go back to the roof. You're not here to actually have a fight. You're just here to get rid of buffs and scare people. For phase 2, you're pretty much just going to stay on the roof at all costs. If you're really hurt and your pocket's available, just yell out, rotate, and then the pocket will know to jump and you'll fall down and get healed. And get ammo too, you'll have to do that periodically. But other than that, you're just staying on the roof. Now essentially as Roamer, you're just watching the roof. You'll use these little supports on the sides to cover yourself from snipers. Do not get sniped. It is going to make it really hard on your team if you get sniped. So you just watch long and short, dance around back here, hiding a little bit, and in the event that anybody does come out with a medic, then you're just going to jump on them and kill them. Now I'll talk about the early game as Pocket. You can take it kind of ginger unless you're using a suicide scout. Then you have to do what the Roamer does and just rush over real quick and kill yourself. Same jumps as I show in the Roamer segment. Your medic in that case will have to charge with the engineer. And then essentially all you're going to do is stand on the shack and deny connector in the short hallway. Retreat if nothing presents itself within 10 to 20 seconds, or if a whole bunch of stuff comes out. So you're basically, as Pocket, just going to be chilling out on top of the shack. You'll be spamming rockets there. Stay there for about 10 to 20 seconds, like I said in the slide, and if anybody comes out, then you can kind of bail out backwards. You're just there to get rid of buffs and scare people. Then after a little while, you can still watch short through this crack in the wall, and you can still keep spamming it. Now we'll talk about what you do in phase 2 as the pocket soldier. You'll essentially watch right or left around the sides of the house. So again, through the little crack, or just around the left side altogether. You'll need to get in the habit of shifting very quickly, so learn what you can and can't rocket jump off of to get quick rocket jumps to deny long and short. You'll also be periodically called upon to rotate with the roamer and do exactly what he would normally do. While he gets ammo, while he gets health, if he's died somehow, you have to have somebody on the roof at all times. Now also as pocket, if you know that they're on C, so you've had a scout go around, or they're just taking forever and not coming out of the B hallway, you know that they're coming from C. So as pocket, you need to gather yourself up and hold the right or left doorway and have your demo man help you by holding the other side. And you'll pretty much just focus on bottling them up. Now I'm going to talk about medic a little bit. It'll be pretty brief. Basically, keep your back to the house or the point. Keep your back to it so you can't get stabbed. Make sure that you're not wandering around and getting into sight lines that a sniper could see. And also don't stand too close to the chain link wall in the back, because if somebody's on the roof shooting down at you, it's much harder. They have to be much further on your side of the roof to shoot straight down at you. It's a much easier shot for them if you're closer to the chain link wall. So just watch your back, stay close, don't wander around. Basically at the start here, you're going to be healing your pocket who's on the shack, and you're just going to be healing him and flipping around to make sure that nothing's coming out of C to kill you. But in the downtime, you're pretty much back to the wall, look left and look right constantly. You will have to move out eventually to Uber on people and stuff, but other than that, this is the majority of your gameplay. As demo, essentially what you're going to do at the start is you can trap up A or C, and then I'll have videos for those sorts of traps, and then you're pretty much just spamming and trapping long and short on B. Basically, this will be a demonstration of the different traps. So you can trap up into this door, you can trap the wall, you can do it any way you want for this trap. Now, you can det all 8 stickies whenever you feel like. You could try and get a timing down, you could det right away. What I like to do is when you have 8 stickies down and you shoot another sticky out, it'll det one of those stickies. So here we go, we're detting each one of the stickies, and we're establishing a new trap that will det should someone come out. Here I show a really popular trap of A. You can set this up any way you want with like a distractor trap, or basically what you're trying to do is get them to look at one trap, think, we got that trap, and then get killed in another. Essentially just trapping up this room. Of course, there's the other method of hiding in connector and trapping somewhere else out there, but that's pretty dangerous. Basically for part 2 is demo, you're making sure not to get sniped, stay relatively grouped up with the rest of the team, make sure you're watching a different doorway than everybody else, and if they push on you, make sure you're rotating the same way as everybody else so that you can spam them to death. The main thing here is just rotating and realizing where your spam angles are so that you can keep teams out and make them pop very early. So here now for some tips and tricks and basically a review. Make sure that somebody is watching every single door at B. Always. Whenever you decide to watch a door, you should say, I'm watching long. It's pretty well outlined in the start of this video which classes should be watching which doors, but things happen, people die, and you've got to try and make it work until they get back. So make sure you call out which door you're watching, and make sure that if you change which door you're watching, that somebody's watching the door you used to watch. 2, the biggest one, is stay together. If your team rotates to attack, say, the rocks, do not attempt to run around through the sunny side, which is the front side of the house. You will die and you will do nothing. So don't do it. If they're coming out of connector and you want to attack them, somebody needs to call which way the team needs to rotate, because essentially you're only going to have 3 or 4 people on the ground. And you can't attempt to divide your team in half and go around the house, because they're going to come out with all 6 of their players. And if you split up around the house, 3 of your guys or 2 of your guys are going to end up fighting all 6 of them and will not accomplish anything. And you're going to end up losing B really quickly.